Well, MSF recently did a study in KZN about condom use and sex in young people. Can you tell me about the study?
Sure. So basically, this was a pretty big study. It's in scientific terms, it's what you would call a cross-sectional survey, and we looked at people from age 15 to 59 in an area of KZN and Bongolwane, Eshawe. Now, what what we found from the survey, which was most interesting with respect to young people, was that new infections, HIV incidence in the general population was about 1.4 per 100 person years. Now that's in terms of what we expected, perhaps a little bit lower. But what was much more concerning was that new infections in young people, particularly in young women, were very much higher than in the rest of the population, almost 3 times higher among young women aged 15 to 29. So what that tells us is to really get on top of the HIV epidemic, we have to work out how to reduce new infections, particularly in young women, because disproportionately they are bearing the brunt of the new infections. So that's I think one of the most important things that this survey showed.
All right, now how do we move forward from here to curb these results?
It's well, look, it's not entirely straightforward. Otherwise, we'd be doing it already. But there's a lot of things we do need to get to grips with and do better. I mean, one aspect is behavior change. We need to have ways, like I was mentioning, to get information across to young people so that it is relevant, so that it's acceptable, so that it's understandable and digestible. We also need to have interventions and services that are adapted to young people. So what that means is a young person goes to an adult clinic, they stand in line, and these basically they're not always the most friendly places. We need to make our spaces, our clinics, our staff a bit friendlier to young people so that these become places where young people can go to get tested for HIV. They're places where they can go to talk about HIV. They feel that they can be open with nurses about HIV and other sexually transmitted infections. So it's the space where care is provided, but it's also the attitude of the people providing the care. So our nurses, our doctors need to be a little bit adapt what they're doing a little bit for young people. Be a bit receptive. Try to see things from the eyes of an adolescent. Say, I mean, it's a time of intense social and psychological change. I'm sure we can all remember the peer pressure, the all the different things we had to deal with during that time in our lives. It's certainly not easy, and we need to have people we trust who can support us to get through that period. So the other thing I would say, the other thing specifically with reference to this story, is we need to make prevention accessible to young people. Young people have to be able to get hold of condoms easily and without fear of recrimination or stigma or any of the things that we know happen all the time. So what that means is condoms are the most effective means of preventing sexually transmitted infections. We know they will prevent the transmission of HIV, and they are cheap, but we need to make them easier for people to get. So, for example, the most recent survey, which I mentioned, if we look at the 2012 survey, women aged 15 to 24, only just under half of them used a condom the last time they had sex. We need to make that much, much higher, and it's going to be through the combination of education and the availability of condoms. So basically, they need to be everywhere. People need to get them. They need to be free.